Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. This is You Too Can Be Great, Growing Up Hip Hop Season 6, Episode 23 or 603 review. I'm a little late, a couple days late. He's here, my little baby's here. I've been tired, I've been taking care of him, exhausted, but I'm very happy to meet him. He's beautiful. My husband and I are completely in love with this kid. I cannot understand how people go through this world without having children. Because they're just so beautiful and so cute, especially as small as they are. And after I met him, you know, when you watch those shows and you see those crazy things where they talk about somebody hurting a child, and in your mind you're thinking, well, I'll never hurt a child, but he just need to go under the prison or under the jail. Now that I have mine, I'm like, burn these motherfuckers. That's how I feel in my head. I don't have any sympathy for you at all. So those of you who are parents, congratulations. You guys have been doing a great job. I'm now one of y'all, so now I know how it feels, but it does make things a little bit hard for me to go ahead and keep up with the videos, but I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do Grown Up Hip Hop now. I'm gonna now watch Family Reunion. I'm gonna try to do that tonight. And I do wanna speak on the bullshit with Jeannie and Salt Lake City and express my opinion on that as well. If I can get through all three today, that'd be great. If not, just look for the videos and I'll try to do this whole catch up thing. So let's get into it. So last week, I know that I missed the Grown Up Hip Hop review when Cree and Savannah tried to attack Sequoia, when Sequoia did make an effort to come into the scene trying to squash things. If y'all remember last season when I did my review, I did say that I did not take to Sequoia when she first came into the game because she was trying to use Angela's storyline. She got mad at Tanise when Tanise tried to, what I thought was a compliment, saying, oh, your mom looks like your sister and you look like the mom. She was trying to pay a compliment to the mom. She wasn't trying to be shady. And Sequoia took that personally and just went off the deep end of somebody that's pregnant. And I thought that she was doing that because she wanted a storyline and she wanted to get on the show. Now that she is on the show, from that being the impression I got from her, I didn't take to her. But seeing her last episode and how she approached the situation and really did try to come on a sincere, apologetic type situation, I was going to give her a second chance. And Cree and Savannah's ass need to get booted off this fucking show. But that was where it left off, that little petty ass fight that happened. So here is Uncle Luke in Miami meeting up with Cree. They're still building the relationship, but Cree decides to tell him about the potential fight that she got herself in. But of course, she lies to her own father. She says to him that Sequoia was getting slick at the mouth, and that's the reason why she attacked her. Bitch, bye. You're lying with your 4 businesses, and you're freaking you're messy. Cree, at the end of the day, is significantly older than Savannah, so you should be mature enough to understand that Savannah was the person entirely at fault in this situation. First of all, Savannah does have a slick ass mouth. She does, and she's disrespectful as hell. She needs to be spanked. That's what she needs, number one. Number two, Cree, when we watched that whole fight, you were not aware, and Sequoia also said during that argument with Cree that she had already apologized to JoJo regarding the Denise situation, and Cree said, I don't care. You wanted to fight with her. You wanted to pick a fight with her because you wanted a moment. And for her saying something like, well, you brought your son into the situation, not necessarily. Sequoia did make a comment saying that Angela dated the baby father, but she never talked about her son or brought him on the show or showed his face. All that extra shit that you were doing, you were trying to trigger her, and you end up looking stupid in the end. Cree, you're at fault in this entire situation, so why would you say that Sequoia was the one slick at the mouth? Savannah popped up, and Twist tried to fix everything, try to get her to handle the situation maturely. He said, hey, y'all ready to talk? And her ass walked up there talking about, check this out. I don't give a fuck about you, bitch. And all this nonsense, ratchet behavior shit that she was doing. And then she deserved to get hit. She did. I'm sorry. Savannah, it was just too much for her. She was not behaving. And Twist was right. You weren't raised right. You need some fucking home training. She needs some home training. And Cree sit up here lying to her father when you're trying to build a relationship with him. That looks stupid. Then we have the next scene where they're back in LA. Sequoia's in the studio, beautiful, and her voice is beautiful. I said she was talented at the showcase because she has a beautiful voice. And Brianna's gonna come visit her because Brianna wants to hear her side of the story. Now, Brianna is on the same tip with everybody else. All they know is they're team Tanise. Tanise doesn't seem to be the type of person that has beef with people. So for her to find out that somebody tried to attack Tanise, who doesn't seem to be the one that will fight with anybody, it already puts a bad taste in their mouth. So what happens now is, Brianna's now going into the situation like, well, let me just hear what she had to say. and see what's going on. So Sequoia now lets her know, listen, all this shit was started by Savannah. Savannah came to me about the showcase to ask me to come, and she mentioned Angela. I told her that Angela and I had, Angela dated the father of my child, and there was something there, but I don't really have any drama with her. I just don't know how it would feel. And Savannah went on and used that and tried to be messy and brought something up that she didn't need to spread, just like she spread the rumor that Egypt and Sam had told her about TT without having credible evidence. Same shit. So she was trying to explain to Brianna that that's where it all started. But while she was there, she did make an attempt to apologize to JoJo and say, you know what, I would love to meet with Tanise because I would like to address the situation because I felt like I overreacted. Now, having spoken to Sequoia and hearing how sincere and how genuine and how she behaved and handled herself, Brianna is now, you know what, I like Sequoia and how she behaves. So I'm going to try to see if I can fix things with her and everybody else. So we get to Sam's wannabe MMA fighter type joker behavior. Every time that Sam comes on screen, I cringe. I cringe because it's never something good. It's either him announcing to us that he doesn't know if he's straight or gay or whatever the title he wants to pick, but he's engaged to Egypt. We just don't know. It's him talking about how he's the Joker and how she says Harley Quinn or some nonsense. It's him doing the absolute most, encouraging Egypt to go and put her hands on Brianna when Egypt knows that Brianna could fuck her up in an instant. It's him, you know, on doing interviews with Tasha K, talking about how he's on OnlyFans, you know, hitting on transgender women when he's supposed to be dating Egypt and getting caught red-handed and he's still lying about it. It's him lying about his finances. It's Egypt taking care of his child support. It's always something, and it's always him. When it comes to Egypt and him, he's always the one in the trouble. So every time he comes on screen, I cringe. I'm like, oh my God, what is with this dude? What is with him? Because now Eric is meeting up with him, Eazy-E's son. Eric is like a mentor to him. And Eric is talking to him about what the court case situation is with him being potentially charged with 4 counts of assault, with each of them holding 2 to 6 years. Because you know they just give these sentences out to people, these years out to black folk like they're giving them Christmas presents. Those mandatory minimum bullshit that they have has really fucked up with a lot of generations of family members. They just throw these years at you as if you have endless lives to live, as if these are not valuable time that you can never get back. We have had so many people being released from prison recent years, and you hear shit like, oh, this person has been exonerated from being accused of some shit they didn't do, and they've been spent 50 something years behind bars for a crime they didn't commit, and now they're old. And our tax dollars are having to now pay for mistakes that these ridiculous lawyers and ridiculous prosecutors who just want to win their case and just want to get promoted, that they're throwing people's lives behind bars, not understanding that prison really changes somebody. It doesn't rehabilitate not a damn thing. But Sam is looking at it like a dumbass because he thinks it's going to get him some street cred. What kind of shit is this? Because as Eric is talking to him, he doesn't understand the gravity of the situation. You have children, number 1. You are marrying Egypt, number 2. Y'all made a huge deal about TT having her wedding in Jamaica. You want to have your wedding. And now you're about to face 12 to 15 years because you couldn't stay out of a fucking fight with security. He's like, well, it was 5 against 1 person. Well, you have, he's like, they knew who I was. They were calling me all these different names. Next thing you know, there was a weapon pulled. I had to just fight. And I'm over here being dragged off to jail with bruises on my face because they roughed me up real good. And I was just like, this is so stupid. What he did was unnecessary. He did not have to involve himself in that nonsense, but he did because he thought it would get him publicity. But look at what you're facing now. Then we have Eric trying to basically get in through his head that what he's looking at right now is not some cakewalk. But talking to him, it's like you're talking to a child. I don't think Sam understands fully what the situation is and what he's doing, because at this point, Tretch is already ready to jump off the deep end because he's sick of him and having to explain his shit to every damn body. It's just, people are over that shit. Now we have TT, Brianna, and Vanessa meeting up with Brianna's essential oils, which I gotta try some. I love essential oils, especially when it comes to massaging my husband and him massaging my feet, because I need the massages. And she's meeting up, and then she lets them know that she went to meet up with Sequoia, and she heard Sequoia's part of the story, and she kind of got an impression that Savannah was kind of the messy one in the situation. But obviously Vanessa, being Angela's sister and Tanise's sister-in-law, she's gonna obviously be on the defense when it comes to Sequoia, because what she heard about Sequoia from the showcase and how Sequoia attacks Tanise got her out of her character, somebody that's not known for confrontational behavior. It's not a good taste in her mouth. So of course it's gonna come off a little bit, like she's already off-putting. But Sequoia shows up, and Sequoia handles herself very well. I was very proud of her. She now addresses Vanessa and says, you know what? Vanessa's like, from what I heard with my family member, it's not good. And Sequoia says, all this stemmed with me talking to Savannah about something that I just mentioned it. And I didn't know that she was going to escalate it or make a big deal out of it. But I do remember that last season, Sequoia did make a big deal about Angela dating the baby father. And I did say that the way Sequoia presented herself, it was almost like she felt like she had a beef with Angela because Angela chose to date the father of her child. That's how she put it. And in my reviews, I said, Sequoia, what the fuck kind of logic is that? Because if your baby father chose to date Angela when you're trying to fix your relationship or your family, she was like, well, Angela didn't care about my family enough to not date him so we can fix shit. Well, if the man don't want to fix shit with you, is it Angela's fault? That was the impression I got. So when you do put it out there like that, it seems like you have a beef with Angela, because that's what it came off to me. But then when it wasn't getting there to where Angela was there, so then she decided to now pick something with Tanise and stuff like that. That's what it came off to me. And it felt like she was doing that because she wanted to stay on the show. Now that she's here and she's explaining things, saying that she'd really have beef with Angela, it was kind of confusing, but I do like the fact that she said, I apologize to Tanise and I apologize to JoJo, and I'm really open to talking to her because I did overreact in that regard. So hearing Sequoia speak to Vanessa, and hearing her be a little bit open, I don't see Angela wanting to talk to her about any damn thing, because Angela's like, bitch, this was years ago. I don't want to talk to you about whoever I date. But Tanise does, I do see that could be a window that could be opened now that she has issued an apology. But as far as Savannah and Cree, she lets them know that Savannah and Cree are kind of like bullies, the Gross Sisters. You feel me? When she called them the Gross Sisters with Brianna, I was cracking up. But she said the Gross Sisters are out here and they're kind of bullying her because they're like trying to be Tanise's shadow. Let me fight this person or pick a fight with her because Tanise can't do it or Tanise ain't here. It's stupid. Just back off, mind your business that pays you. You got all these businesses, Cree, as old as your ass is. You got all these problems that you want to deal with. Why would you involve yourself in somebody else's shit? So, but that conversation ended up going a lot better than I thought it would, and it was good to see. Then we have, we had a small scene with Tyran, TT, and her soon-to-be betrothed, discussing Tyran coming to the wedding, but also discussing Tyran getting vaccinated, because obviously having a wedding with a bunch of people with COVID and everything like that, which I was diagnosed with, by the way, is creating a problem. It really does mess with things. And I know 3 people so far that have died from it. One of them died from a side effect of the vaccine. She was older, and I think she got a blood clot from it. And she was an older woman, and she didn't go to the hospital and check herself when she was having the symptoms. So it didn't work out well for her. God rest her soul. Another one is a close friend of mine. Her brother, he already had a pre-existing condition, an old, there's a name for it. I forgot what it is, but it basically, you're born with your organs deteriorating with each year that you get older. And he wasn't supposed to live past 37, but he was barely 32, 33. He got the Delta variant. And so when he got it, he was sitting in the hospital, and we thought he was getting better. I was rooting for her. I said, prepare yourself for either one, because at some point when they put him in an oxygen, he couldn't even breathe. I felt so bad, because in my spirit, I was just like, God, please don't take him. But I felt it. And I really tried to help her get ready. But then one day I called her and she said he was gone, and that he requested to get himself removed off the oxygen because it was just too painful. And he couldn't get vaccinated because his body and his organs couldn't take the recovery process of the vaccine. So it was just all bad. And for her, my friend, she was kind of hurt because she has 2 children that have that same disability, and she thought that her children might one day end up dying that way in that kind of pain. I said, no, your brother's portion is not the same as yours, and you don't know where things are going to be in a few years from now. I feel like they would have perfected this vaccine, because we've had when influenza first came out, people were just dropping like flies. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a huge deal. So that's the second person. Then I had an uncle abroad that's really old that passed away from it as well, that I know about. So it's not a joke. Where TT is coming from, trying to protect her child and trying to protect people who are a bit of a high risk. But some people are able to fight it. There's some people like my husband who are asymptomatic. There's some people who just went through a fever, lost their sense of taste. I know one person said he drank a whole bottle of salt and couldn't taste not a damn thing because of how bad it was when he got COVID. But as far as forcing someone to get vaccinated, I don't think that that's something that can be done. Everybody is entitled to make a decision for their own body. I don't know if Tyran loves his sister or loves TT enough or his cousin enough or whatever to want to go and get himself vaccinated. But what I will say is me, myself, am vaccinated and I still got it. I'm not boosted, but since I got diagnosed with it, I don't really have symptoms outside of sneezing. Sneezing and coughing. That's all I had. I didn't have the fever. I didn't have the chills. I didn't have the loss of taste. I'm still able to move around, do everything. And I do feel like because I'm vaccinated, my body was able to handle it. And because I don't have a pre-existing condition. But for other people who I know have gotten it, I've heard some of the most horrible shit. One of my friends got it, he wasn't vaccinated and that shit was foul. I was like, oh my God. And he still wouldn't get vaccinated. And he doesn't have any pre-existing conditions that could prevent him from doing it. For me, I'm an advocate for it. Only because of what I've seen and the people that I know have died, not just some number on CNN or whatever. But for people who choose not to, if it's a situation to where you're physically and you just can't because of the recovery process, then I understand that too. But if it's some conspiracy theory ass shit that you're listening to, like watching shit that Candace Owens is putting her ass out there for, it's just dumb. It's just dumb because the vaccines do help save lives in a lot of cases. My concern is the newness of the vaccine. I think that's what will worry me about it is what are the potential side effects in the future. But I'm not going to spread misinformation or some shit like that. I just feel like if Tyran don't want to take the shot, he don't want to take the shot. But it is what it is. He's going to end up missing TT's wedding because she ain't playing now. I wouldn't play with that either. Now we have Sequoia and Cree meeting up. Cree had invited Sequoia out to discuss things. But Cree did not invite Sequoia out to discuss things, to mend things. Cree invited her out to gaslight her. Because while they're sitting there, Cree starts off by making a conscious effort to say that it was Sequoia who basically was popping off at the mouth. You got to watch what you say to people. But from what I saw, Sequoia was sitting down in the chair minding the business that pays her. And Cree, after Savannah acted a fucking fool and decided to do that, bumped herself into the situation and was like, you brought your son into this. You can't get mad. You try to attack Denise. And when Sequoia was like, listen, I already apologized to JoJo about that. She's like, I don't care. Cree embarrassed herself by putting herself in that situation. And so Sequoia responded without knowing Cree's fertility background or her struggles with it. I had somebody say some shit to me like, I'm female. So naturally I have menstruals, And so I didn't know that this individual did not have menstruals anymore or couldn't have kids. I had my menstruals. I wouldn't hide in it. Obviously I'm not going to leave everything out for people to see, but I am going to do what I can to cover up the part that needs to be covered. But there was a tampon in the trash or whatever the case is. And I got this, oh my God, you just don't care about my, you don't care about me and enough to hide this because I can't have kids, bitch. I was hearing that bullshit justification, almost like what Cree's doing to Sequoia. I don't know about your life, bitch. I don't know anything about your womb. I don't know anything about your uterus. I have my own personal struggles. If I knew about it, then maybe I would have approached the situation differently. But you reacted already, trying to fight me about something that triggered your ass that I didn't even know anything about. Now you're sitting up here trying to make it seem like I was being slick at the mouth. When all I said was, when you have your own kids, you would understand. Because you don't have kids, you don't know. That is a very valid thing for Sequoia to say. It wasn't something messy. You took it upon yourself to insert yourself in my face. And I said, I was watching Sequoia tell Cree, listen, it ain't about you. I don't have beef with you. Don't get yourself in this. Trying to do everything she can not to have beef with you, Cree. And you involved yourself in that shit. Now you want to sit up here and gaslight her, tell her that, oh, she was the one popping off at the mouth, Cree, bye. Then she kept saying you brought your son into this as a way to manipulate her almost. Cree, I liked Cree when she first came on the show. Now I don't like her ass. Her and Savannah are pissing me all the way off. When that didn't take, when her effort and her manipulative ways didn't take and Sequoia wasn't swallowing the bullshit, then she took a different approach. I heard you say that we have problems with you because you're pretty. And then she brought race into it and said, light-skinned people tend to think that this, and the third. Listen, if y'all watch my previous reviews, y'all know that when it comes to race and when it comes to biases and when it comes to slavery and the ramifications of it and the history of it, I have done several reviews in the past where I have discussed the consequences of this, team house slave, team field slave, light skin, dark skin, the right skin, all that shit and all that nonsense, mixed kids, good hair. I have talked about it on several occasions because when it matters, it needs to be talked about. Just like I'm gonna talk about the Salt Lake City shit with Jeannie and her dumb ass. But in this situation, Cree, you're full of shit. I do not call the race card in this situation. I call it as I see it, and it does not belong in this situation at all. It doesn't. Because what it does seem like is you guys are bullying her. And because I can't come up with a plausible reason as to why you're bullying her. Because Tanise can fight her own battles. We've seen it. JoJo can defend his own wife. We've seen it. She doesn't need you and Savannah fighting her battles. And Sequoia did not have any single beef with Cree or Savannah outside of this nonsense Tanise thing they're picking up on. So it all falls back to, what are you really mad about? Is it because she's cute? Is it because she's not bothered by you? Is it because she's not really looking at you as something that she needs to be afraid of? Is it because she's not intimidated by you? Is it because there's nothing that you have that she wants? Then it comes down to jealousy. So that was the justification that Sequoia landed on when she couldn't think of anything that she did to you that would have provoked you to behave the way that you behaved towards her. So she is very valid in thinking that maybe it's because she's cute. That's why y'all are hating on her. It has nothing to do with her skin complexion or your skin complexion. Bitch, bye. Cree tried every angle to try and make this woman feel like she was doing something wrong. Girl, I can't. And then she tries to defend Savannah's behavior, saying, Savannah's going to say what she wants to say. Savannah gets on my nerves too, but you're just going to have to learn to walk. No, we don't have to learn to walk away from nothing. Savannah's rude. Savannah's disrespectful. And as we've seen when they showed this next week's episode, Savannah had the nerve to look at Stevie J, her father. Maybe he wasn't around. I don't know. Maybe he didn't pay child support for her. I don't know. But hell would freeze over before I look at my father and say, I'm about to slap the shit out of you like I did that girl. Or I'm about to punch you in the face like I did that girl. Do you understand that as a Nigerian woman, I would be 6 feet under if I even fixed my mouth? I wouldn't even complete that sentence and it would be like a slap across my face. You don't speak to your father like that, girl. Savannah is disrespectful. She's entitled, she's privileged, and yes, she is beautiful. There is nothing wrong with her face. I do think that she's gorgeous, but her attitude is stank. And that's just what it is. So to sit across from Sequoia and make a comment saying, you got to just let her be her. No, check that little bitch. She's a child and she behaves like a child. She needs to be slapped. Then we have the final scene with Egypt, Peppa, and Sam meeting up. And Egypt's beautiful as she is, trying to make drinks. Stop, girl. You tried, but no, stop. She made an effort, and now they're now discussing things. And Sam comes in, and of course, Egypt is so young and so in love with Sam. I don't know what kind of dickmatized that he did, what he did to her and her vagina for her to be so into this man. I would have fed up by now. But he comes in and he's letting them know, I have some bad news. I talked to my attorney, and it's 4 counts they're looking at of assault, and each holding 2 to 6 years. So maximum, or what I'm looking like if it goes all the way, is 15 years. And Egypt says one of the most naive things I've ever heard. It's going to be very difficult for me to live without my man or without the man I love, but I will wait for him. Excuse me? I love my husband, and I've said it before that my husband has been in prison. My husband has been to jail. My husband was in and out of juvie when he was 15 years old. My husband has a handful of kids that I love so much with multiple women. My husband has gone through a lot. He's been around gang members. He's been around pimps. He's been around hookers. He's been around prostitutes, people who are doing crack. He has had a different life and a different experience, but my husband also learned from his decisions early on in his life. And by the time that he met me, I met him at 12 years old, but I didn't like his ass. We just lost contact while I was doing all that stupid shit. We reconnected again at 25 years old. And by then he'd lived enough, had a lot of mistakes, gone through so much in such a short amount of time that he was ready to create, really live life the way that he knows he can, as intelligent as he is. He's graduating with electrical engineering degree in 2 months. He got a week out, then he starts his master's in one of the top schools in the country. 1 year, gets his master's. He pays his child support, takes care of his kids. He's a wonderful father. And because I saw the changes that he made, I was able to build a future with him, and I trusted my future with him as my husband. But let's be clear. I told him, if your ass ends up in jail for some shit like this assault type bullshit shit that Sam is talking about, I am not built to be a prison wife. I will love you from a distance. I'm not going to stay married to you. And I'm damn sure not waiting 15 fucking years. This vagina won't wait. It's not going to happen. So I'm not doing that, okay? If it's something that I know for a fact he did not do, he wasn't even there, which does happen. They do plant, evidence and try to, convict innocent people. Then it's one thing for that, for me to go in there and, support my husband because I know it's a crime he didn't commit. But Sam put himself in this situation. He ran towards these security guards because they were jumping somebody he assumed was his friend. And he jumped into that situation. And when weapons were involved, he was associated with it. And when you're talking to him, it doesn't seem like he understands the gravity of the situation. He thinks that he's going to get him, he's over here talking about Bobby Shmurda and, put himself in the same caliber as these rappers who have had time in, as if it gives him some street cred. It's just, he sounds stupid to me. And for Egypt, don't wait for that motherfucker. Girl, live your youth. Okay, enjoy your life and let him live his in prison. We don't know what he might find him a boo in there too. We don't need to be worried about what Sam's doing with all the shit he didn't put your ass through. But Egypt is saying this shit on, because she's very naive. You're not wait for him. Not really understanding that you don't know what kind of man he's going to be when he comes out. If a person spends more than, I would say maybe 6 years behind bars, you need double that time to acclimate back into society. And if he's spending 12 to 15, he's gonna need another 12 to 15 years to really get back to normal. Prison is no joke. It's a complete different lifestyle. You gotta watch your ass and your back and your front and every side of you. You don't know who's gonna be against you, the COs. You don't know who's gonna be over there trying to set you up. There's so many predators and they get creative nowadays. You just don't even know what the hell's gonna come out be like. So to now, it's too much. It's too much. And to fund him while he's in there, pay for the phone, send him some money for his commissary, send him some food, and he got kids out here. They're gonna be fully grown and adult by the time he comes out. You ain't got your kids of your own. No, ma'am, girl, no. But Peppa finally behaves like a parent for the first time in seasons. She says, "Egypt, I need to speak to Sam alone." Now, obviously, she knows that her daughter is completely in love with this man, and she doesn't want to say anything that will break her heart. But this is Peppa's way of saying to Sam, I'm tired of everything that keeps happening. This is too much because I have to consider what my daughter is going to have to go through if you are going to be behind bars, even if it's just 1 year. And Sam is all nonchalant about it. And that's when he brought up the whole Bobby Shmurda thing. And when Peppa's talking to him, did you see how easily things can go? All right, your face is now on TV. You're now being known by people. You're going to have haters. And you're going to have people that are going to come up there and say stupid shit. Boosie's ass was caught on camera when he was coming out with what seemed like his son out of somewhere. And somebody went up to him talking about, you hate gay people. You know what? I will fuck you up. Boosie's like, you better get your ass on my fucking face, And you see that people who don't even know your personal life, just what they see on TV, are going to come and try to attack you in public because they feel like they're so engulfed in a life that's not even their own that they have to do something about it. It happens when you put yourself in this situation. You got to learn to walk away. So when she's talking to him about that, and I think he's getting more, I feel like this whole court situation is giving Sam more of a hype in himself, as if he's like all big and bad now. I almost got an assault charge, man. I almost got 12, 15 years. He's gonna be telling the stories like he's been out the street thugging out like Tupac. Okay? He doesn't understand that this is just not okay. You got a girl out here who's beautiful, smart, wanting to build her future with you, and all you can think about is what makes you look good. It's just stupid. But while Peppa's talking to Sam, they do cut a few things out because it's reality TV. It doesn't seem like he was getting it from what I was seeing. I don't feel like he was getting it. Y'all tell me what you think if you saw him getting it. But what we did see is Sam's tell Peppa, please promise me that if anything does happen to me, even if I go for 1 year, 12 years, I don't care, that Egypt does not stay out here away from me, and that she lives her life and she goes out, she chases her dreams and stuff like that. And Peppa said, I didn't expect to hear that from you, but even still, I still have to deal with my daughter's heartbreak. I still have to fight. Peppa's gonna have to fight Egypt because she was a advocate for this relationship. So if she goes to Egypt now, if God forbid Sam gets convicted and says some shit like, well, girl, I need you to go ahead and live your life, she's gonna have to still deal with the heartbreak of her daughter having to deal with losing somebody that she loves so young. It's too much, and having to force herself to move on. it's too much for any parent to have to watch. And for Sam, it seems to be every time his face is on TV, something crazy shit is happening. Don't nobody got patience for that? You know, I don't see him as admirable. He just does some stupid shit. I just can't. As a parent, I wouldn't advocate for that. Not my baby. Go do it with somebody else. It's not my child. But that was the end of this episode. And that was what they showed. And that was the review for that one. But they did show what's going to happen next time. And it seems like Sequoia has met up with Stevie J. And let Stevie J know that the way things are with her and Savannah, they cannot meet up personally because things will go bad and sour. And Stevie decides to go talk to Savannah. And she tells her dad she should have punched him in the face the same way she punched Sequoia. This is what I'm talking about with Savannah being so immature and stupid. And then there's other scenes that they talked about and they showed that's going to happen this coming week. So I'm going to see if I can review that one too when it does come out. But the rest of you guys, go ahead and like, subscribe, and notification bell. Let me know what y'all think about this video and what happened with the episodes, this episode. And like I said, I'm going to see if I can review Love and Hip Hop Family Reunion. And I also want to discuss the Salt Lake City debacle and the tweets and shit like that. I'm sure some of y'all have seen that shit. We need to talk about it. And the fact that Bravo is not firing her ass. Either way, let's just discuss this shit because it's going to be some tea. Anyway, you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.